What's going on, guys? Vic VP back with another Gamecase Arcades video. On this one today, we have a little visit from somebody that was in the garage 4 years ago. Unfortunately, recently, the system died. Customer hit me up and said, "Hey Vic, I need your help." I said, "Of course, I'm gonna help you out." Now revived, running a brand new PC with 2 terabytes worth of games. Let's talk a little bit about this little project that I did to help this customer out. All right, you know the drill. If you're not following me on all the socials, what are you waiting for? Be sure to follow me at Vic_VP. There's a Linktree link down below. It's convenient. Everything is there. From the website to all the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Be sure to also like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know your thoughts on how I basically went about to help this customer out that purchased the cabinet that this came from 4 years ago. Let's stay tuned for the story time. As far as in the garage, almost done, basically waiting on artwork from the customer for the custom 2-player by Vic 65-inch curved edition. And yes, what is that, Vic? There is an arcade one up here. Yeah, $20 score on that on Marketplace. What are you waiting for? Be sure to follow me on all the socials because you would see the behind the scenes stuff. Go follow. But enough of the social media stuff. Let's take a look real quick at what we're all here for. We're gonna be looking at this right here, this 4-player control panel. It's got some history, meaning I purchased an arcade cabinet 4 years ago. This is when I moved into my house here and I was getting ready and ideas on building and designing my own arcade cabinets. Go back, I'll probably post it here. You could see the original video here, dated September 2021. So a little bit under 4 years, it's off by a month, but pretty interesting and funny stuff, I guess you could say. Discovering, again, I'm gonna mute this, that the original cabinet was designed from a company by the name of Arcades Are Fun. And I made a video on it, I talked about it and such. And I didn't realize, until now really, kind of like the internals. The internals on this is running an Ipac 4, but the board is actually pre-2015. Because the original computer, I'm gonna go through the story, I'm kind of jumping around. Original computer died. Customer hit me up and said, "Hey Vic, man, I bought this cabinet from you 4 years ago. I don't know if you remember me, but I'm having a weird issue. It won't boot." And obviously for me, I will always help. It wasn't my cabinet, it wasn't my system. I sold it as is, but I'm not gonna ghost you. I don't work that way. I said, "Of course, I remember you. Let me help you out. Send me a couple of pictures." Basically, in turn, the hard drive failed. The hard drive died. It was a hard disk drive. So especially if the internals on this was pre-2015. Vic, how do you know that? Well, again, it's running an Ipac 4. I downloaded the Ipac 4 software and the board was not detectable. Luckily, on Ultimark's site, they have another program that says, "Hey, use this program if it's pre-2015. Sure enough, downloaded and the board is recognized. So dated stuff, and that kind of goes along with the actual computer inside. Very old. I said to the customer, I said, "Hey, listen, if you want, definitely number one, the computer is dated. Let me build you a new computer. Let's get you up to date. SSDs. This actually has a 1 terabyte M.2 SSD in it for a quicker boot." Customer said, "Hey Vic, man, I'll be honest, I don't want to spend a lot of money." That's number one. We have to keep in mind when I talk about the story behind this, and I understand. He didn't want to spend a lot of money. I sold him the cabinet very dirt cheap because I knew the issues that were in it. It wasn't worth my time or money to fix it the way I build arcade cabinets. It wasn't worth it. It was a quick flip and all. The customer just wants MAME arcade. He's like, "Vic, I was perfectly fine." He's a golfer. He likes Golden Tee. He's like, "As long as I have Golden Tee on this, I don't need Street Fighter 5. I don't need Street Fighter, Tekken 8. I don't need that. I just want my classic MAME arcades because me and the kiddos enjoyed that the most. And I said, perfect. I could then attempt and build you something that is not gonna break the bank. Usually I like to move the camera around, but there's really no point because this is our main subject here. So cuts will be pretty easy on this. But again, I remember when he first messaged me, I was like, oh yeah, this is the 4-player huge cabinet. It was a monster of a cabinet. It was heavy, using like 1-inch wood, or I should say like, it wasn't MDF, it was like particle board, melamine. There you go. It was melamine, 1 inch. It was crazy heavy. I remember helping him bringing it down the stairs. It had to go down about 15 steps. Luckily, the control panel is detachable. So when he reached out to me and said, hey, Vic, man, I'm having an issue. Like, can you come down and help me? This is also something to educate other people that I always say, number one, I need the hardware on hand. Like, I need this. And I've gotten the emails. I've been doing this for 13 years. You know, people say, hey, Vic, I have an arcade cabinet. I want now a system to go with it. And I reply back and I say, listen, for me to give you a totally plug and play and I know it works, I need the main important thing, which is the control panel. This is all I need. Because it's all USBs. I don't need your actual upright. I don't need that. Just let me know what screen resolution you're at and I could work on it from there. But I need this. Some people assume and think, oh, you know, just make me a drive and I'll plug it in and I could just configure it. Configuring, definitely way back actually, way back, configuring was a nightmare, especially with the way I was doing it with Hyperspin. And me at the time, I was not a fan of RetroArch. I didn't like RetroArch. But now I've basically changed everything. All the classic emulation up to N64, I now have running on RetroArch. So configuring is pretty easier. It's not easy, it's easier than what I used to have. I used to run Super Nintendo on its own emulator. I used to run BSNES. The Game Boy, I used to have its own like emulator and stuff. So Hyperspin days, you know, 10 consoles, I would have to configure 10 emulators and it's not 1, 2, 3. You have to go in and configure and such. I don't want to go too off, but basically, I said to the customer, I said, of course, I'm gonna help you out. He's pretty local. He's about like a 30-minute drive. I said, I'm gonna come to your house and I'm gonna take the control panel. I need that. I'm gonna take the control panel and I'm gonna take your PC. I took the PC with me and he's like, wow, like you don't need the actual cabinet? I said, no, I just need this. The cabinet could stay. A TV is a TV. I just need this. This is the most important thing because the internals and stuff, I'm gonna go launch, for example, MAME, and I'm gonna configure MAME to your controls. That's it. Now it's pretty funny. I told him I'm on my way. He actually wasn't home. He's like, Vic, the wife's home. Do you think you need a hand with this? I said, no, enjoy your day with the kiddos. I actually had to put like 2 stools under it. It's basically being held down into the cabinet with 2 bolts. There's 2 bolts with like a butterfly, whatever you wanna call it. So I was like, no, don't worry about it. Enjoy your time with the kiddos. And took this home. He was surprised. He's like, wow, that's all you need is just a control panel? I said, yes, that's all I need. Now, I took it home, and first thing I did, I powered on the PC, hoping that I could save the hard drive. And unfortunately, no. I got the same error message, hard drive not detected. It was dead. When I powered on the PC, I could actually hear the hard drive spinning, and it was making a loud noise. And then after about 10 seconds, it would just completely turn off. So the reason I wanted the original hard drive, number one, it would have definitely saved money. It would have been, I don't want to say an easy fix, but it would have saved time and money because he was so accustomed to his Hyperspin setup. He was like, Vic, launch box, I don't know, big box. Like, is it difficult? Am I going to know it? I said, this is going to be way better than Hyperspin and such. And the other reason I really wanted his original hard drive was because I knew this had LEDBlinky in it. It has it all there. It's got an LED whiz in it. I personally like the LEDBlinky side. It's like, it's cool, but there's so much that goes into LEDBlinky, especially if you're the type that wants the buttons lit up for the specific system and such. I draw the line basically at MAME. This LEDBlinky links to MAME Arcade. We're gonna talk about the LEDBlinky here because whoever wired this, yeah, it's it's not perfect. And again, to save money on the customer, I didn't touch anything internally. I didn't swap out anything. I didn't rewire anything. Again, keeping in mind that the customer just wants his MAME arcade back, I went the simple route, meaning let me just fix it. Let's get him some games on it and call it a day. Now I mentioned LEDBlinky. Let's just summarize it real quick. I don't enjoy LEDBlinky. It is a lot of work to get it down packed and assigned and a lot of profiles to be made. So I drew the line on LEDBlinky at MAME Arcade. When I was doing Project Canada, I was able to acquire like this big pre-configured thing for LEDBlinky. So mostly MAME Arcade was already set up and such. Keep in mind also MAME Arcade, not every game has an LED profile. So I don't know who's gonna sit there and do 14,000 MAME Arcade games. It's just, I draw the line at MAME Arcade and whatever I have and had, that's it. I haven't really gone to the extent of customizing and making my own profiles and stuff. Goes into now the realm of consoles. Hey Vic, if you launch like NES, is it gonna show the buttons? I've been doing this for 13 years, and I remember when I first started, I got excited to be able to play Mario Bros. Just on this. Like, yeah, I could play Mario Bros. And then once you play Mario Bros. On arcade controls for like 10 minutes, you're like, this sucks. This is the worst experience. It's cool, like I could hear Mario Bros. Playing, but I'm like, oh man, this is awful. No, just no. If you buy a system normally from me, those retro consoles, I put those to either Xbox One controllers or 8-bit controllers. So, you know, NES I could put on an Xbox One. You're gonna wanna play that, especially with a D-pad. Playing it on arcade sticks is an awful experience. Going now into the realm, for example, N64. Playing N64 on an Xbox One controller is awful. You need an N64 controller. That's where, like, for example, 8-bit controllers work amazingly for that. So when it comes to this LEDBlinky, as you can see, it's just like an animation. It's there. I'm not gonna say all the MAME Arcade games are gonna work beautifully and perfectly, but majority of them are assigned and there. It's kind of funny, whoever wired this LEDBlinky, they're like player 4 start is also linked to this button here. It's like they basically merged lights together to something. So when I did the whole LED config, and I was going down the list, I was like, oh, that's weird. Like this one lights with this one and this one lights with this one. 32 outputs, but I don't think there's even 32 LEDs here. Again, to keep costs low for the customer, I didn't do any rewiring and all that. And keeping in mind, everything from the micro switches to the actual LEDs, they are hard soldered. There is no spade connectors on this. Everything is hard soldered in. So it is what it is as far as the LEDBlinky side. Now let's talk about the actual PC, because we're gonna talk about the PC and then we're gonna talk about the encoder on this. The PC on this, trying to keep the budget low for the customer. You're gonna hear at the end of the story, like, you know, my opinions and stuff. I wanna keep the budget low. So this right here, I was able to find, I got an i7, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 2060 Super on this. As far as the actual storage, I do have a 1 terabyte M.2 SSD. That is a must, like a must. I wasn't gonna go, he had a hard disk drive. And I remember that video I made, it took like 10 minutes for the thing to boot. No, M.2 SSD. And then I also added 1 terabyte regular SSD, a Samsung Evo. No cheap BS parts and components. So he's got really about 1.5 terabytes worth of data. And Vic, why are you doing that? For what this could do, that is the best that it could do. So again, we got a new PC, awesome stuff. Specs aren't current gen, but to keep the price low, I was able to find parts and such. Now let's move on to the actual encoder on this. And this was like the breaking point where I messaged the customer and he said, Vic, I just want MAME Arcade. I don't need anything extra fancy. I loved Golden Tee. I just need MAME Arcade. Anything after that, I will never play it. Now, if you see my videos, if you see me doing my stuff, this is running an Ipac 4. I People, it's so funny when I read the comments. I don't like the iPac. I hate it. I hate it. I say the word, I despise it. But people are like, why are you doing that? What the? You're an asshole, Vic. I hate it. I cannot stand the iPac. This one is an iPac 4 pre-2015, apparently. Vic, what does that mean? Even with the iPac 4, what does that mean? This only does keyboard commands. Nothing else. Whereas the current iPac 4, you could at least switch from 4-player keyboard commands to 2-player X output. I can't do that with this. And also another reason why I don't like the iPac 4, why only 2-player X output? Give me 4-player X output. Luckily, little preview, my buddy Ray Arpeg Electronics, he's working on something for that. Can't talk too much about it, but I'm excited to see what that is. So again, this is an iPac 4 that could only read keyboard commands. It cannot do anything else. No. So I cannot put Tekken 7 on this. I cannot put Street Fighter 5 on this. No, I can't put Shredder's Revenge. It just doesn't work. And I was getting more frustrated because I would sit here and I'm trying to launch and find programs that would do keyboard to X output. I was trying to find it and it didn't work. And ultimately I told the customer, I said, hey, listen, the iPac 4 on this, number one, it's dated. I hate iPac 4s. My usual setup is a Zinmo controller with 2 SJJX encoders. So Zinmo encoder is player 1 and 2, SJJX, SJJX. That is how I've been doing it for years. And it's very simple because it reads it as an actual like joystick instead of a keyboard command. Vic, what about escape? I use Joystick to do the escape route on that. So that's problem solved. The big other advantage with the encoder setup that I usually use is that I could launch another program known as X360 CE, which will take my encoders and then make them Xbox 360 controllers. I even have a tutorial. Go check out my tutorial. I tell you how to do that. So I came into this thinking I could do that. No, unfortunately not. X360 CE, you cannot assign 4-player keyboard. You can't. Not to mention like some of the keyboard commands is like left shift and right control and left control. And I was like, I said to the customer, listen, I could swap out the encoders for you and do it the way I do it. And he goes, no, Vic, you're going to be charging me a fee. I don't want to hear it. I don't want it. I just want my MAME arcade and I want my golden tee. And that's the ultimate decision. So this is still running that iPac 4 and I will still stand by it. I don't like the iPac. I can't stand it. It's a personal thing. I can't stand it. It's also, I'm so accustomed to how I do it. I did tell him, like, unfortunately, again, like I mentioned before, all the connections are soldered in, all of them. The micro switches are like soldered in. It's crazy. I did make sure all the micro switches work and all that. I tested all the connections and all that. For me to now bring in a Zinmo, I would have had to cut at the actual iPac or unscrew the terminal on the iPac and then solder in my Zinmo wire. It's like, it's a DuPont connector. It's work. It is what it is. It is work. Customer didn't want to pay it. Now, keeping all this in mind and also keeping in mind this control panel, look at it. You only have 6 buttons for players 1 and 2. You only have 4 buttons for players 3 and 4. I kind of took a step back and I said, even if I put Street Fighter 5, even if I put Shredder's Revenge on this, it doesn't work. There's not enough buttons here. Yeah, you could do Street Fighter and play, but really, I believe Street Fighter is a 6-button game, but it's like 8 buttons also. Shredder's Revenge, definitely for players 3 and 4, 4 buttons doesn't cut it. It doesn't work. So that's where I kind of took a step back and I said to the customer, I said, you know what, you're right. We don't need to change this because then we would have to change the entire control panel, give you more buttons and such. So it is what it is. It has the iPac 4 in it. It is just only reading as joystick keyboard commands. That is it. Everything here is a keyboard command. What am I in? I'm in my trackball games menu and stuff. Now, Vic, what's going on? What kind of systems do you have in this? I basically have arcade and retro consoles up to N64. I do have N64 on this. I'm not gonna lie to you. It is there. I highly doubt the customer will play it. And I just kind of put in N64 because I had the extra space available. He does have NES, he has SNES, he has the Game Boy. So he doesn't have PSP, he doesn't have PS1 because you only have 6 buttons and he doesn't want controllers. So I know I'm repeating myself, but that's just something that I want to educate people. This is the cards I'm dealt with. And when somebody doesn't want to spend more money on it, then that's the way I got to play my hand. That's how it is. All in all though, it works. It works exactly how it is. Real quick, touching up on the spinner. I'm not big on spinners. I don't. It's cool. I'm not big on it. This has an actual board separate for the trackball and the spinner. Like I guess that's how dated we're going. I don't know. We could do some Arkanoid. Which the spinner, it's like he likes it sensitive. He was like, Vic, I like it that I could like touch it and it'll fly and all that. It's cool. It's there. It's already built into the cabinet. It's there. He's also got even the dedicated 4-way on this. Pretty cool. Again, it's just basically parallel. This joystick is reading this. These 3 buttons are also reading mouse. So mouse 1 and mouse 2. No middle mouse. Let's enter some coins. Let's watch a little cutscene. Take a look real quick. You can see it, right? Yep. Bezels, yes, bezels. I used to be a big fan of full screen stretch, but now I have the bezels on everything. So as you can see there, we can throw the ball. And I suck. The spinner is like cool. It's just I never really played spinner games growing up, and I suck. I just suck. It's pretty sensitive, and the customer does like that it's sensitive. So I could always, when I do deliver it, I could always adjust it on the fly. No! Spinner. There you go. I have a whole separate, I didn't press it. I have a whole separate category, which is known as like ball and paddle games. So he's got all the spinner games there. You obviously have your trackball game, so Golden Tee is there and stuff. Now real quick, let's just do a little PSA for all the other builders out there. Please do us a favor, do me a favor. I always laugh at this. Please set up 4-player arcade correctly. Set it up accordingly. As you can see there, I have a category for 4-player arcade. I'm gonna enter into this category here. Vic, what are you talking about? What happened? How I do this setup here, I actually have 2 separate MAME emulators. I have regular MAME, that's for basically all the ROMs and such, and then I have MAME 4-player. Quick education, easy one to show off is The Simpsons. I grew up on the arcade, playing at the arcade with The Simpsons, that big, beautiful Konami cabinet. You had to go to the specific joystick for that character. Okay, right now I'm running MAME 4-player. MAME 4-player, really, your control setup should be player 1, 2, 3, 4. Normal MAME, it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4. So now if I come over here and I want to be Marge, I know Marge is here because that's what it looks like there, and this joystick should always control Marge. That is what it is. If I want to be Bart, Bart is here, player 3. That's where I'm just trying to get at. Assign it correctly. You don't have to go the route of doing 2 separate MAME emulators. You could go the route of launching each game and changing the config of that game, but that takes a lot of time. Whereas me, I would rather go to my menu on Launchbox, select all the games that are inside of my 4-player category, and then just change the emulator. Simple, easy. Bring in Homer. And I gotta put coins in for Homer. There he is, yeah. Awesome, jumping and all. That is the way 4 players should be. Another prime example, NFL Blitz, NBA Jam. I get the requests all the time for NFL Blitz. NFL Blitz, it's classic, it's gotta be there, right? Of course it is. Let's do NFL Blitz 2000 Gold Edition. Your team, team 1 is over here, and then team 2 is over here. If you don't change the config, this is team 1, and then the outer is team 2. And it's like, no, that is not how any of this should be set up. So let's put some coins in, put a bunch of coins in. Yeah, so as you can see there, I'm all the way here. That's what it is. I want to be on this side here. I'm over here. Get it? Please. PSA, please. Set it up correctly. If you didn't change it, then player 1 and 2 is here. So that person all the way to the left is here. And it's like, what? Who's on what state and where am I? Please, assign it correctly. Now, real quick to mention, as you can see, this control panel is pretty unique because of this extra joystick here. Pretty funny, pretty cool. I'm like, what is this? In all honesty, a game such as Smash TV is a prime example of utilizing these dual joysticks. So pretty cool. I'm right now in my I have main ROM, so no duplicates are in this here. We're gonna have to just go through the list. I'm at SK, so we need Smash. We need SM. There it goes, we passed it. Awesome, Smash TV. I'm gonna launch Smash TV. Pretty cool. Even Robotron, that's where it utilizes really the joysticks here. This prime example to show off Smash TV, because you have 2 players, dual sticks. Robotron, you could actually set up for player 1 joystick and then player 2 joystick if you don't have this extra joystick. It's cool. It's even got like a top fire button. Unnecessary, unless you're a diehard Smash TV fan. Let's just bump up the volume a little bit. I'm gonna just do player 1 so you can see that I can move and fire. Player 2, contestant 2. So player 1, as you can see, and then player 2, not trying to be in the video so you can see it as I die. Look at that. So again, pretty cool. I mean, not many games will utilize these dual sticks, but it's cool. It's set, pre-tested, and it works. Now, like I mentioned before, if you've been listening, because of the iPac, I'm basically limited on games and such. So I have the retro consoles, for example, like the NES. We'll launch a Card Warriors, why not? Pretty cool, as now with this PC, I do have retro achievements. So I did make the customer his own Gmail account, and I made him his own retro achievements account. So pretty cool. If you don't have it, you should definitely hop on the train, because retro achievements is cool. Again, I'm limited because if you remember the NES days, it's the select to change. I'm limited on games because of this iPac. And it is what it is. You deal with it. NES, simple 2 buttons. I gotta love it. Definitely nothing like the arcade version, but console. Pew, 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 pew. Very cool. And again, retro achievements. Now, again, using RetroArch, dual escape on that. You could change that, but I do like the dual escape on that. What was I gonna go with that? Retro achievements on my personal build, I actually have separate categories where I have NES and then I have NES retro achievements. I took that off for this customer because I didn't want to clutter the wheel with like so much. I like it on my build, but for him, I took it off. I did put a couple of games such as PopCap because he could utilize the trackball as the mouse and stuff. Pinball, I did give him the current Pinball M and Pinball FX along with Zachariah. I went into PopCap, whoops. I gotta go into Pinball, there we go. So Pinball, pretty cool. Luckily, you're able to reassign and change the keyboard setup inside of Pinball FX, so works. I have like the left and right flipper here. Down is gonna be to plunge. Again, this here, you could go left and right with the joystick, but it's gonna be better to just use the actual trackball and the mouse. So we could press any button, we could use my left mouse click. Again, I don't know, like whoever did this wiring, it's linked to somewhere and it's like, why? Let's go. So I can go to tables. Again, this is the current version of Pinball FX. So we could do some Tomb Raider pinball. It's just kind of funny and weird to me, especially when I have my virtual pin, to be playing something like this. It works on a horizontal screen. I have the nudging set up to the joystick, so pretty cool. Who doesn't like pinball? I mean, you got it. Over like what, 180 tables? Why not? I have the change camera button also here. Simple. Tested and all. Yeah, cool. There's Laura Croft. There you go. Whoa, she's looking at the ball. Cool. Simple. Easy. Now, something like this, I don't have it set up to like exit and escape. It is just like the regular PC game. So you have to escape. You got to go through the menu and then close it up. He didn't have pinball on his first drive or his first build. So he was pretty excited to see like, oh, pinball, like that's cool. If I escape out, we could exit the game. And yes, and we're gonna be back inside of the launch box, big box front end. It's cool. It's like he saw that and he's like, whoa, I could play pinball now? I'm like, yeah, why not? Add it up, right? Very cool, very simple stuff. Again, it's like, I don't want to say the word basics, but he went originally, his original drive was only a 500 gig drive. Now he's got 1.5, I would say comfortably. It's 2 terabytes, but it's like 1.5, and then you get like, you know, Windows takes up certain space and all that. In the end, I revived it, and now it works how he wanted it. That's it. Everything else, he's like, Vic, anything else after that? It's just extra, and I'm grateful for it. So it is what it is. Now, if I'm gonna be brutally honest, I'm like, you know, a part of me is like heartbroken. A part of me is like upset because I know the potential. I know what I could do, but my hands are tied and I can't do anything because the customer doesn't want to spend the money on it. So in turn, I told the customer, I said, listen, I'm going to just charge you the cost of the PC. That's what I'm doing for this customer. You know, again, someone might say, Vic, are you like happy that this is going out the way this is? Not really. Because it's like, I wanted to put like Shredder's Revenge. I wanted to put Tekken 8 on it. I wanted to put a bunch of stuff on it. But I'm like, my hands are tied and I can't do anything about it. So in return, I'm just charging him the cost of the PC, which was probably around like $400. And it is what it is. It's okay. This is something where like, I don't want to make a profit off of it because it is what it is. I just know that he wants his MAME and he wants his golden tee. So at least that's there. But in the end, I revived it and it's playable and it does what it needs to do. Camera died, that's a cue for me to shut up and end the video. We'll do real quick a shutdown process and a boot up process so you can see how it is. So again, utilizing Launchbox Big Box, I'm gonna be sure to blur out the customer's name because I do include the Launchbox Big Box license. So that right there, I basically just asked you, your name. I put it on my credit card. You just pay me for it, and I do it like that. I always include the Big Box license, and it's your license. You can't share these licenses and such. So again, I'm gonna just disconnect the power. Keep in mind, this guy has an arcade cabinet. I'm gonna be giving him one of those like Wi-Fi smart switches. Again, setting up where the PC turns on once power is given to it. There's no power button on his cabinet, nor you really wouldn't want to put a power button. I put them on my cabinets really as a shutdown, but he doesn't have one, no, because nothing was linked to the PC and nothing was wired to the PC. So again, once you give the cabinet power, just like that, PC is gonna turn on. I already have the TV on and such. He's definitely gonna notice the speed of the M.2. He's gonna be like, whoa, this definitely boots way faster than what I had before. I still utilize, and I always do it, I utilize Task Scheduler to launch Big Box. That's after 30 seconds. So once the system turns on and logs in, 30 seconds later, Big Box will launch, or I should say the executable will be started because you're gonna see the Big Box logo there. I'm gonna make him kind of a decorative background that just says, please wait loading. I might have to look for something kind of superhero, Street Fighter blue and red-esque just to kind of match the theme and stuff. But as you can see, simple. Desktop is there. I just downloaded AnyDesk, so I have to put that on the desktop there. He does have Wi-Fi on this. His other computer apparently did not. But then again, I couldn't even log in or start the computer, so it wouldn't even matter. But again, it is what it is. You turn it on, let the system do its thing, and you'll be gaming in no time. LEDBlinky, like I see it activate after like 15 seconds. So it is what it is. Again, the customer didn't even really notice LEDBlinky, but it's there. You gotta be there. So again, as you can see there, Big Box logo, waiting for Big Box to launch, and we'll be gaming. Cool, we're in it. Put a timestamp on it. We'll see how long that took, maybe about a minute. because again, I have it set for 30 seconds after it's gonna launch the executable. And there you go, again, there's perfect timing, there you go. LEDBlinky is activated, it does this whole animation sequence, and you game, why not? That's it, there you have it, VicVP Gamecase Arcades. Another control panel, arcade cabinet that just needed to be revived. And again, like I said, I'm more than happy to help out. I will never ghost anybody, whether it was my build or not my build. I will never ghost anybody. I'm always down to help. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. Do you think I did good? Are you kind of like on my side where, you know, the pricing that I basically charged this customer was just for the PC alone? I think I did good on that. VicVP Gamecase Arcades. So long, friend. Hopefully I don't see you for another 20 years.